Hi friends, welcome to a special edition of Adventures with BG. I'm Linda, and as you can see, my hair will be drying off as we continue this episode, and that is because I finally got to have my first shower after, 5 or 6 days without water here in the city of Austin. So, as many of y'all know, Texas had a massive energy failure. Our equipment here in Texas wasn't winterized properly, and so as a consequence, many of us in the major cities and across Texas, everywhere, lost power and eventually water as well. That brought about, that combined with the freezing temperatures outside made for a very dire situation that I thought we were not going to encounter for a while. Fortunately for me and for our dogs, Jared has us well trained, and we have a lot of equipment that helped us survive what we now call the Snowpocalypse of 2021. And a friend of mine was asking me, how did we survive? How did we do it? I'm by myself here, and I managed to make do and keep our house in working order. And so I want to thank her for this idea, because thanks to her question, we just decided, let's just do a video to share with our friends and family and supporters out there what it is that, came in handy during this snow apocalypse here in Austin. So to do that, I created a list, and we'll be posting on our Adventures with BG website. I'm reading it off my phone just because I'm trying to think of everything that we used and needed during this time. But first and foremost is you need a gas stove. And if you don't have a gas stove, you need to buy yourself some propane tanks or some gas reserves of some kind that can help you use energy and burn fuel if you are left without energy. You can buy any camping stove that can use this fuel. That's what we really recommend, because when you start using barbecue pits and things of that nature, it gets dangerous. But there's a lot of great camping stoves out there that you might want to try. So really keep that in mind. We were fortunate that we already have a gas stove. When Jerry and I were purchasing the house, we talked about it. I grew up with a gas stove, and it just always seemed like a more efficient and great alternative to electricity in terms of, when you're out of electricity, you always want to have that different source of power. So make sure you get yourself a gas stove or a gas camping stove, and that you have the gas to make sure that it stays running. And thanks to Austin Energy on that, not just Austin Energy, but Atmos Energy for us, we had our gas. We never lost the gas, so we didn't have to use any of our reserves. So aside from a gas stove, which was foremost for us, make sure that you also get yourself some lighters, because even if you have a gas stove, you will need something to light it with, even if you... Like our actual kitchen stove is gas, but it needs electricity to spark. So we had to use, a lighter as we were fueling the gas. So make sure that you have a lighter as well, and that you have not just one, but several lighters handy so that you're ready to use your gas stove when needed. And, if you're wondering still, what stove should I get? What camping stove should I get? We have some articles, and we'll be posting some links. We also recommend the Primus Yellowstone Classic Trail Stove, and Jared, that's the one he has. So that's an easy option if you want to look at it. We have an article on that on Adventures with BG. Go check it out if you're curious as to, what the stove looks like and what it entails. And like I said, make sure you have the lighters that can help you light these stoves. It also helps to have candles. You can have, it helps to have the candlesticks that can last a while. But, we may do with these decorative candles in the meantime. I didn't want to touch our reserve candles unless it was necessary. And we didn't have to. We just used these decorative ones, and they work just fine. So, make sure that you use them safely. Use some ceramic or something to keep it safe underneath, and that you minimize the potential for fires out there. Keep your fire safety always in mind. That being said, and also knowing that the nights are frigid and cold, and that you are without power, one of my best friends through this time was this BioLite headlamp. And we have also a black diamond headlamp as well. but really the BioLite is lighter and it's so efficient. I can't recommend it enough. It's USB powered. It lasts for hours. Like I went days without having to charge this thing. So really recommend the BioLite headlamps. Make sure that you get yourself several, especially if you have several family members. Highly recommend these, and make sure that you keep them charged. Another item that came in very handy for us, especially as we were going outside. I have dogs. They still needed to go out. We have a townhouse, so, you know, going just outside in the yard wasn't an option for them. I had to walk them. And I had to walk on slippery ice. It was dangerous, but fortunately, I got this idea from another walker. I saw somebody out with hiking sticks. And so I thought, you know what? Jared has a pair. These are REI carbon power lock walking sticks. And these are the ones that I used to make sure that the girls and I were safely walking outside. Helped us stay steady. It saved me from several falls. And because I'm the sole caretaker of the dogs in the house for now, so I wanted to make sure that I stayed injury free. And this definitely helped us make sure that we could go take our walks outside safely. And we were able to, you know, just this combined with the BioLite headlamp, we were golden. I mean, it was just great. So I really want to thank Jared for that. Also came in handy. This was a little bit longer than the other one because we had very dangerous icicles up on our ceiling, something Texans were not used to dealing with. So I had to, I made this really long so that I could reach some of those dangerous icicles that I was afraid would fall on people. So really came in handy for that as well. So again, get yourself some walking sticks. You can get them at REI on sale or any other, you know, sporting equipment store as well. And that also said, another awesome example that we have and that we use, hiking shoes. Make sure you have great boots that have a good grip. We've talked about this before on Adventures with BG website or in videos. I highly recommend the Ultra Lone Peak 4 mid-mesh hiking boots. I'm not just saying that. Not only have they been great for me out there on the Grand Canyon and out on the Salcombe Tide Trail, but they literally saved my butt while we were out here dealing with the freezing ice outside. It was so great to have these shoes with this great grip. Prevented me from slipping so many times. Make sure you get yourself some good winter shoes with a great grip. And if you're curious, we also posted a review on the Ultra Lone Peak 4 shoes a while ago on our Adventures with BG website, so you can go check it out. And it also gives you the affiliate link if you want to go check it out. Another one of my trusted friends during this pandemic, pandemic and ice storm, Snowpocalypse time, was this trusty, handy Cloudveil Jacket. And I don't know how to describe it or even give you a link, unfortunately. It's not on sale anymore. It's a properly equipped Cloudveil Jacket. It's very light, but also very protective, and it kept me warm. Underneath this layer, I also wore a Columbia fleece, which is my go-to just anytime it gets cold in general. Really recommend it. You can get these in any store. REI, again, that's where we got ours. But if you want, or you know, you don't want to break the bank, you want to make sure that you are a good shopper, because there's plenty of equipment that we need to buy to be ready for another episode like this, I recommend going to thrift shops. That's a great option for me. Most of my pants and gears and jackets are from thrift shops. So that's FYI a great tip. Just go to a thrift shop to get yourself some good winter equipment and clothes. You'll find great deals. And especially for something that you might rarely use, it's definitely a great deal to go to a thrift shop to get yourself some winter clothes that you might need sometime in the future. That being said, there's a couple of items you might not be able to find in a thrift shop that you really will need or be appreciative of if you are able to get them. And that's wool socks. We just went with the REI brand, so get yourself some good wool winter socks. And they don't have to be REI; they could be any brands, but you know they really help when you're out there. Also, thermal underlayers. Again, we have some that I bought secondhand or that Jared has handed me down actually as well. But I actually just went to Walmart because I needed to buy something. But I found these great thermal underlayers for $7 there. So just FYI, just for ladies' pants and for sweaters. But there's also good deals for men. And again, you don't have to go to a special store for that. You can get them at your local Walmart or get them secondhand if you can score those finds. I also used a good pair of REI gloves, and those were I got at a REI garage sale, so keep a lookout for those. Another thing that we got was, and that kept us warm, especially on the most frigid 0-degree Fahrenheit days, was this really awesome UGQ Outdoor LLC Bandit quilt. And don't hate on the snakeskin coloring here. That's just, the reason why it was on sale, and that's why we managed a great deal on it. But this quilt, if you can buy it on sale, do so. We still have plenty of time. Fortunately, spring is coming, so we won't have another horrible winter apocalypse like the one we've been having, and you have time to score something on sale. But this UGQ Down 800 blanket was just so helpful for us at night when, the worst night. It was great to just be able to just cuddle with the dogs underneath this blanket and just stay warm. I can't tell you, it might have saved our lives. I really can't recommend this one enough. But not only for that, I've also used it out in Salcantay. It was really handy out there as well. So highly, highly recommended. It is, again, a UGQ Outdoor LLC Bandit quilt. And again, we'll be posting a list with links where we can link to affiliates. That being said, if you don't have this quilt, which can save you a lot of pain and can save your life, just stock up on blankets. The more, the better. Make sure that you have towels as well for your plumbing, exterior plumbing, especially here in Texas, where a lot of plumbing isn't prepared to deal with these catastrophes. I did cover our external plumbing equipment with blankets, and that definitely helped. Another item that was really helpful for us was this, just filling up, having a bathtub, which Jared and I had talked about, when we were building the house, was, do we need a bathtub? And we decided yes, for resale value at the time, but it really came in handy for this emergency. It helped me stock up initially to save bath water, so that, when we were told that we're going to be running out of drinking water, I started to reserve some. And then when we really had gone several days without water, I started piling snow and ice in that bathtub. So it really came in handy. And if you don't have the ability for that, or you just want to have a family to take care of, we also recommend having spare large containers in which you can contain water. That would really be helpful. I've also used during this time the Magellan Outdoors Icebox. And it's technically cooler. We've been using it for when we go camping at times. It's great, but it also helped me save additional snow and ice that I couldn't store, that once my bathtub was full. So really great option if you can get yourself a Magellan Outdoors Icebox. Okay, another lifesaver for us was this really nifty, and probably the star of the show. It is this, I can't even move it, Goal Zero Yeti 1400 lithium power battery station with Wi-Fi. You don't need the Wi-Fi during, the snow apocalypse because you won't have it anyway. But, oh my God, this battery kept us warm and kept us communicated during this time. I powered 2 cell phones, my work one and my personal one. And I also made sure that the girls and I had our 2 dog heating pads working at night. Really helped us stay communicating and help provide an extra source of heat. When it came time, it'd been a couple days without electricity and we were just out. It helped to have this Aki 300 watts power inverter, which was you connect to your car, and then it allows you to connect, other equipment that you might need to be powered. So I used the Aki. I hooked it into my car, which was filled with gas, and turned it on. And then I was able to charge the Yeti battery with it. So along with your Yeti battery, make sure you get your Aki 300 watts power inverter, because it will help you be able to power your battery should you need that, if you go a couple of days without electricity. Another source of power, just mentioning it here, that we did use was this RAV Power Smart Charger Power Station Series 2700. It was great as well and helped me charge the phones a few times when the Yeti was low on power. And then, like I mentioned, make sure it helps to have a full tank of gas for when you're out of power. I mentioned pet heating pads as well. Those come in helpful, not just for your pets, but for yourself. I borrowed one from the girls, and it helped me to sleep comfortably at night. So highly recommend those pet heating pads. Another item which we didn't have this time, and I really regretted it, is a water bob. And it's this giant bag you can put in your bathtub, and you can essentially fill it up with bath water or water running from the bath, but it's still drinkable water, so that you can save water, so that you have that to drink for when you run out of drinking water. Fortunately for us, I'm the only human here, but we have this aqua trainer as well. And this one is for 7 US gallons. And it's been, like 5 to 6 days without water. And I'm still not through with it. I'd say I've used about 5 gallons so far, and I've been using it for both coffee and drinking water. So highly recommend just getting those aquatainers. They're like $7 or $8 at Walmart, or at any other store. So if you can't get a water bob, or you feel like you can't get it for some reason, either way, really recommend the aquatainer. Along with the aquatainer, just mentioning a couple things. Make sure you have your buckets for when you have to be gathering snow or ice outside, or you have to be flushing your toilet, because that's what it came to in Austin. We had to be flushing our toilets using a bucket and snow water. So, you make sure you have some good buckets handy. Make sure you have your medicines. I have an example here. Make sure you have your 90-day supply of medicines. If possible, talk to your physicians. Make sure that where you can get those 90-day supplies, so that you're not running short on medication. And now that we've covered, energy and food, there's, what else did we do? Well, when we weren't trying to survive out there, or just easily collecting snow or ice, another thing that I did was, I started breaking ice outside the front of our house. It was slippery. I was concerned cars would get slip for me and myself. So started breaking ice with just the baseball bat, because we didn't have an ice lake here in Texas. So good old baseball bat worked. I wish I had a shovel. I don't have a shovel, so whenever I would break the ice, I would then grab it with a dustpan and get it out of the way. So that came in handy, as well as for self-defense. The dogs, usually during the day and night, were always in these little items on sale. We got these felt little onesies. I don't know what to call them, but they typically hate them, but it saved their butts and kept them warm during this time. So really recommend that for dogs, your pet friends. How did we stay fed? Well, aside from the water situation that we just discussed, I'm a coffee addict, and an addict needs their drug, and I needed it. I had made sure ahead of time that I would be supplied with my drug should the need come. cannot highly recommend, any more highly recommend this, what's called a percolator. And it's old-fashioned, but it comes in really handy in these situations, especially if you do not like drinking instant coffee. The way it works is it has 2 sections. And I'm trying to open it up here. I guess you could call it 3 sections, but you insert your water, clean water in here into the bottom section, then insert this middle item in there over that first section, insert your coffee grounds, and then close the lid on it for the third part, and then you boil it over on your gas stove. And you wait 10 to 15 minutes, and then you have your fresh coffee, really hot, really warm. It's really nice to have, great comfort. I always make sure I have my drug supply as well, which for me is this Folger Simply Smooth, just because it's easier on the stomach. Powdered creamer, guys. Powdered creamer is your friend, especially if you can't take your coffee black. If you have children at home, or if you have some sort of, you just need milk, powdered milk is also a great thing to have at home. I don't have it here, but it's great for you to have that. Make sure you have a well-stocked fridge, or try to have it when you can. That's what we always do, or I always try to do for the girls and me. So when it got so frigid outside and we lost electricity, it took me a minute to figure out, hey, I could just use outside as a fridge and a freezer. So I took out my meats and my everything that I had in the fridge that needed to be preserved, literally put it out in our balcony, and we had good food for the rest of the week. So we have not been hurting for food. We're still doing really well. I haven't had to touch any reserves. Okay, I'm lying there. I touched 1 reserve. And that's because I have a sweet tooth and I needed some comfort during these hard times. So I got into one of our fancy Mountain House packets, and it was a raspberry cookie crumble package. And so what these are like freeze-dried packages in which you just need to add like boiling water, close the package, and let it heat itself up for a while, and then you have a ready-made meal. I didn't need to, but we have a few dessert packages, so I got into that raspberry cookie crumble. And it was great to just have that handy because I needed my sweet fix. But we also have, it's good to have a good set of freeze-dried meals, should the need ever arise. And so you have several brands to choose from: Backpacker's Pantry, Mountain House. They're pretty great meals to have, as well as other cheaper options. But these are great brands that we've had. Mountain House, Italian-style pepper steak, or Backpacker's Pantry dark chocolate cheesecake mix, which probably would have been my next one had this crisis continued. So yeah, good to have freeze-dried meals. Fortunately, we didn't eat them because we had a well-stocked fridge, and as soon as I realized it was colder outside than inside, I made sure I moved our food out there. So, make sure that you always keep your wits about you, and try to, use common sense where you can, to stay safe and preserve, make sure that you have all the resources that you need. It also helps to have canned vegetables, including canned tomato soup. I mean, that came in handy very much for me. It ended up using just regular oil, cooking oil, tomato sauce, onion powder, garlic powder, and I made, and some chicken broth. And I ended up making a fabulous tomato basil soup. It was so good. And then I had bread and cheese, and so I had like grilled cheese with tomato basil soup. So it was just great meal to have, and so easy to make for us during this hard time. So let's see what else. Another thing we had was tuna, canned tuna or bagged tuna. We had some bagged salads, which again I kept outside while we had no electricity, just because it was colder outside. And we made sure we had plenty of dog food all the time, so our dogs had all their dog food that they needed. Oh, another surprising thing, pancake mix for humans. that comes in handy. All you need is some water, great source of protein. So get yourself some pancake mix. They're easy to make. But going back to dogs, we made sure we had their dog food, dog water bowl. There is some additional gear you can get for dogs to keep them warm. And we'll be posting a link on the additional recommended dog gear on Adventures with BG. And that's pretty much what we had and how we survived and made do during these difficult time, the snowpocalypse. Some extra things I wish I had during this time. I wish I had an ice pick. Again, as a Texan, I just never thought I would need one. And that ice gets really hard, so really wish I could have had one. A shovel. We don't have a shovel. I had to use a dustpan. Tire snow chains would have been great. I was locked in the house unless I was walking somewhere with the dogs and with their walking sticks. I wasn't going to get anywhere, so I wish I would have had those tire snow chains. But other items that I wish I could have learned and prepared for, I wish I would have remembered Jared's lessons learned as a Hurricane Harvey first responder. So that's another link I'm posting on Adventures with BG. But all in all, aside from buying all this gear throughout the year, remember, fortunately, we're coming into spring, and you might have some time to prepare for the next winter catastrophe. So make sure that you're looking out for those sales that might come up, those REI garage sales. Go to thrift stores. Just, don't be snobby. When it comes to safety, it doesn't pay off to be snobby. Get your safety gear when you can. Look for those good bargains where you can, and you'll appreciate it later on for sure. So keep that in mind. And another thing to keep in mind, as you're going through the year, at the end, it came down to, the girls and I were by ourselves. Yeah, we had family members that could come by, but they would have had to make about an hour-long journey to come reach us in the snow and ice during the pandemic. And I did not feel it was fair to jeopardize their lives, especially when we were well prepared and well stocked. But what helped me also, aside from the supply, was the training that I've had through the years, which thanks to my husband and also my family growing up, it gave me these characteristics that I'm going to tell you about. Strength training. I started strength training again 3 months ago. And I used to not be able to lift the Yeti. That's how weak I was. And I think during this emergency, I was able to take the Yeti up and down stairs with relative ease. And I'm so grateful that I've been doing my strength training. So find a good strength training option. Can't highly recommend it. Can't recommend it enough. Cardio. I know many of us hate it, but it's necessary and it keeps you alive. And it's, a great skill in itself. When I was out there breaking ice with the baseball bat, oh my God, my cardio was paying off. And it was a great exercise, by the way. But so work on your cardio, work on your strength training. It'll help you maintain your independence. And it'll help you rely on only yourself and not depend on others when you have an emergency. Another thing that helped was having perspective. Excuse me. A lot of people panic when we were running out of electricity and out of water. Again, Jared and I don't come from rich backgrounds. My family was really poor growing up when my grandparents were in Mexico. And when we would visit in Mexico during the winter, we had to use an outhouse in the middle of the night, several nights on end, or several days on end. Didn't have running water, so we had to use buckets. And that's what I ended up using at some point, just having a snow water bucket bath, because that's what we had available. And it wasn't like a chore, or it wasn't something that like, oh my God, I'm going to have to, it was just like, oh wait, I can do this. And I've been through this. So it just created this perspective, you know, like, oh, this isn't the worst situation I've been in. This is something that other people live with, unfortunately, day to day. So during winter time. So having that perspective of, you know, having seen, having experienced worse winters under worse conditions for short periods of time growing up, and then, you know, being able to refresh that training through winter camping trips recently, just helped me maintain that perspective that it was possible for the girls and I to survive during this snow apocalypse. Again, I want to thank all of our friends and family who checked up on us continuously, who offered to bring us food and water. As you can see, we were well stocked. I want to thank Jared for making sure that we were always well stocked. Sometimes I would argue with him and think he was exaggerating. I can tell you when it comes to these items, he was definitely not exaggerating. Get yourself this battery, get yourself that aquatainer, you know, this blanket. It's not exaggerating. They saved our lives and kept us safe and our house safe. We fortunately have had no plumbing issues, no electric issues, everything, you know, hopefully we'll be fine. Hopefully we won't have to make any claims, but insurance claims. So I really want to thank all of you out there, and I hope that everybody stays safe and that you take the next year to prepare for hopefully the not next snow apocalypse, but just in case that you're prepared. Make sure, especially for us Texans, because who knows if our legislature is going to fix this, our power infrastructure. But make sure that at least you are prepared and that your loved ones are prepared as well. So with that, take care, and we look forward to seeing you next time on the next Adventures with BG adventure.